On behalf of the Department of Natural Resources, I'd like to welcome you to the annual public informational meeting for Lewis and Clark State Park. I'm Superintendent Carol Clark. Informational meetings are held at all state parks and historic sites each year to ensure citizens have input regarding facilities and services. The Missouri State Park System has 93 parks and historic sites with over 160,000 acres for public use. The park soils and water sales tax provides about 75% of the funding for the system. The sales tax is split between Missouri State Parks and the Missouri Soil and Water Conservation Program. The remaining 25% of the funding comes from revenue generated in parks. The mission of the park system is to preserve and interpret the state's finest examples of natural landscapes and cultural landmarks, and to provide recreational opportunities compatible with those resources. Imagine the early 1800s, 1804 to be exact, and during this time, Meriwether Lewis and William Clark were in charge of a group exploring what the West had to offer. With no major highways or interstates in place during those days, this group took to the Missouri and Mississippi rivers, forging the waterways in a keelboat and two large rowboats called pirogues. During this expedition, they would keep journals about the daily occurrences, including observations of the nature around them. At this time, the mighty Missouri meandered freely across the landscape, and in some places would form an almost complete loop. Then it would cut across the neck of the loop to shorten its path. Over time, the ends of the loop would silt in with sediment, which in turn formed an oxbow lake. A journal entry by Clark on July 4th, 1804, made reference to such a lake. The lake is clear and contains a great number of geese and goslings. That lake has been known in recent years as Lewis and Clark Lake. The landscape of the lake has changed over time, and with natural progression of an oxbow, the lake has turned into more of a wetland habitat with minimal water in the lake bed. Lewis and Clark State Park is located about 21 miles southwest of St. Joseph, Missouri, and about 46 miles northwest of Kansas City, Missouri. The state of Missouri acquired land in 1934 on the southeast side of Lewis and Clark Lake, known at that time as Sugar Lake. During the time the park was being developed in the 1930s, the Civilian Conservation Corps, or CCC, and Works Projects Administration, or WPA, played a critical role in building certain infrastructure. A stone picnic shelter located near the lake was constructed by the CCC and is still in use today. Lewis and Clark Fish Hatchery was also being constructed in two phases, with the first phase of 9 ponds being built to the south side of the property by the CCC from 1935 to 1937. The second phase added 11 ponds to the north side of the property from 1939 to 1942 by the WPA. Although the hatchery closed in 2000, some structures can still be seen while visiting the park. Today, the park is just over 189 acres. Park staff consists of 2 full-time employees, 2 part-time employees, and 4 volunteer campground hosts. Park staff manages and maintains 1.3 miles of hiking trails, 70 campsites, 1 shelter house, 2 playgrounds, 13 buildings, and 1.75 miles of roadways. Overall attendance for 2022 was approximately 90,637 visitors, with 5,665 overnight camping guests. State Park Rangers, the Buchanan County Sheriff's Department, and Missouri Highway Patrol provide law enforcement for the facility. During the past year, several maintenance projects were completed. The park office interior has been fully renovated and is open to park visitors as staffing allows. All benches in the day use area received a new coat of paint. The wood storage shed in the campground also received a new coat of paint. New garage doors were installed on one of the buildings in order to keep it and its contents secure, as well as preserve the structure. New gravel was applied to the parking area and road in front of the office. The keelboat exhibit or classroom area has been restored to pre-flood status and is open as staffing allows. Park staff does stewardship work, which includes the removal of invasive species and prescribed fire. The main invasive plant species at this park are Johnson grass, bush honeysuckle, garlic mustard, and bull thistle. Around 308 hours have been spent on removal of invasive species. Upcoming projects include upgrades of 20 campsites to full hookup with 50 amp electric, water, and sewer service. This project also includes the placement of a satellite restroom shower facility, which will be centrally located in the campground. This project is in the latest phase of design and should begin later in the year. Another project in planning stages is to replace the campground shower house with a new facility. The old shower house is out of service and unusable due to 2019 flood damage and the age of the structure. A temporary, portable shower house is in place currently for campers' convenience. One part of our mission is to interpret the natural and cultural resources in the park. This is accomplished by park programs, usually held at various locations within the park for visitors, the public, or by request from groups. A total of 6 programs were offered at Lewis and Clark. The programs included topics such as Lewis and Clark history, wildflowers, mammals, spiders, owls, and guided wildlife hikes. All programs are free and open to the public. Thank you for watching and attending our virtual public meeting presentation. Please feel free to share this link with your family and friends. We welcome your feedback, as this video will be posted until the end of the month. If you have any questions, you can reach out to the park site office at 816-579-5564 or email us at lewisandclarkstatepark@dnr.mo.gov. You may also use the comments section to provide feedback focused on the operations at Lewis and Clark State Park. If you have other questions or comments, you can email moparks@dnr.mo.gov. The park contact information is also listed in the video description for your convenience. Thanks to the citizens of Missouri, our state parks and historic sites are supported by 0.5% of the park's soils and water sales tax. This sales tax allows free access to Missouri's 93 state parks and historic sites. Remember, you're always welcome in Missouri state parks.